ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So, Hare Krishna, we are in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, and we are in verse number 35. So, till now, we saw how Krishna describes about the different levels of Ashtanga Yoga. That is Yoga Aruksha and Yoga Arud, that is beginning stage and advanced stage. And then he says how mind is both a friend and an enemy. And then describes the symptoms of person in the Yoga Arudha stage. And then he describes also the basic practices of Ashtanga Yoga and the goal and the recommendation of Ashtanga Yoga. And he tells us that we should be balanced, Yukta Har Viharasya. And then he describes over the perfectional stage of Ashtanga Yoga and the realizations of Ashtanga Yoga. And then he gives success formula that bring your mind wherever it wanders. And it also describes the Brahmabhuta platform, is how to realize self and then realize Paramatma. And he also describes the vision of a perfect yogi. It's how a person sees Paramatma or Krishna everywhere. And then he told us about the actions, how the person sees Krishna in every person and worships him, and then he sees all beings equally. And then Arjuna asked that whatever you said in the Ashtanga Yoga seems very difficult because the mind is very, very flickering, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. So subdue the mind is, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. So Arjuna was a warrior who can control the wing, but he's saying that uh, I cannot control mind. And therefore, he describes his uh, difficulty that I cannot control my mind. And now we were here where Arjuna is in difficulty and Krishna will give a solution to difficulty of how to control the mind. And this is very important for all of us also because our mind is also restless and therefore Krishna gives us formula. Let's see verse number 35. Shri Bhagwan Vacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Manoturnikviram Chalam अभ्यास अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च क्रियते. Lord Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So here Krishna is addressing Arjuna as, O mighty armed sons. That means he has a strength, he is very, very much strength. After having so much strength also, he cannot control the mind. So he's saying, you have so much strength, so please try with practice and detachment. So suitable practice needs to be done and needs to be detached from material, then this can happen. Purport, the difficulty of controlling the absent mind is expressed by Arjuna is accepted by the personality of Godhead. But at the same time, he suggests that by practice and detachment is possible. What is that practice? In this present age, no one can observe the strict rules and regulations of placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind supersole, restraining the senses and mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. So these are the rules of Ashtanga Yoga, which one needs to follow. But this time and age, these are not possible because first of all, there are not much jungle, and we cannot go in a secular place. Also, will be fearful, and then focusing mind on super soul is extremely difficult. If we are alone, our mind will wander so many places. And another is restraining mind and senses also difficult. And celibacy also is not taught from childhood. So most of people at the age of 2022, they have gone with this thing. So not possible also. And remaining alone is also not possible. So these all things are not possible in today's time and age. Maybe there may be some exceptions, maybe one or two, but in general, this cannot be done. And therefore, Prabhupada gives practical solution. And he says, by the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotion service to the Lord. The first and foremost of such devotional engagement is hearing about Krishna. This is a very powerful transcendent method for purging the mind of all misgivings. So, hearing is the first thing when a child comes in a womb, the ear comes first, and the last thing to go when the person dies. So, therefore, it's very powerful. And whatever we hear, from that only we do some actions. So, therefore, uh, the first and more foremost thing is to hear about Krishna. And then the more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. So one more hears and then one is enlightened, and then gradually what happens is whatever is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness, we move away. It's anukulya sankalpa pratikulya varjana. Whatever is favorable, we take it. Whatever is unfavorable, pratikul, we varjan means to give up. So this is what we do. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn Vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement in the activity of the activities of Krishna. So Vairagya does not mean doing nothing, just going to no. Vairagya means doing things which are related to Krishna and not doing material things. So that is called Vairagya. This is practical because by hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit. This attachment is called Pareshanubhava, spiritual satisfaction. So, Par Ishanubhava is how we get satisfied by hearing. It is just like the feeling of satisfaction a hungry man has for every morsel of food he eats. So, the more one eats while hungry, the more one feels satisfaction and strength. So, when somebody eats, three things happens: tushti, pushti, and santushti. These three things happens when one eats. So one hunger is eradicated. Second, one gets strength. And third, one is satisfied. Oh, I've done. So tushti, pushti, and santushti. This happens when one eats. Similarly, by discharge of devotional service, one feels transcendent satisfaction as the mind becomes detached from material objectives. It is something like curing a disease by expert treatment and appropriate diet. Hearing of the transcendent activities of Lord Krishna is therefore expert treatment for the mad mind, and eating the foods offered to Krishna is appropriate diet for the suffering patient. This treatment is the process of Krishna consciousness. So what we hear and what we eat will decide how much we grow in Krishna consciousness. If we eat food which is not cooked by devotees or not offered to the Lord, then the speed with which we progress will be very less. Similarly, if we don't hear from authorized sources, like because of the YouTube today, so many things are available, so many. And we see so many kathavachaks who are taking huge money and doing kathas. with so much music and everything. It's available on the internet, and people just hear all this. So this is very good for entertainment purposes. But as far as spiritual growth is concerned, then it is not seen that most people grow in their spiritual life because of hearing all the kathas. So the mercy of a guru comes in life, or we get mercy of guru when we have one mantra, we have one path we selected. That means we have got the mercy of guru. Otherwise, what happens is we go to different places, go to different things and all. But when the things are settled, that means we have got the mercy of guru, and that is the right time for us to grow further in devotional service. Then 36th verse, here Krishna is concluding that even it is difficult, one cannot give away. Sometimes we see that some things are very difficult and we try to procrastinate for some time. But after some time, we understand that if we don't do the things, the task in hand will not go further. We'll have to do. And here also Krishna says that mind control is must for practicing yoga. So verse number 36. Yashamyatatmana yoga dushprapya iti me mati Vyasyatmana tu yatata sakhyo vaptun upayata. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But for he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. So without mind control, one cannot be self-realized. And therefore, we definitely need to control the mind and then strive with appropriate means for self-realization. That is by chanting, caring, and all. So these things need to be done. And then one can be self-realized. Otherwise, self-realization is not easy, and one may try for so many years, but will not be self-realized. Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead declares that one who does not accept the proper treatment to detach the mind from material engagement can hardly achieve success in self-realization. So this is what Prabhupada says, that he cannot achieve success in self-realization. It's not possible if the mind is not detached from material engagement. So even if you are chanting, what does chanting do? Is water that material attachment. That means so many times people, when they chant, they have so many thoughts of material wealth and all, fame, name, beauty, and everything. So that things get nourished, and one gets more money, one gets more fame, name, everything by chanting the holy name. So indirectly, he is more entangled in all these things, and gradually uh, he loses spiritual taste. So holy name is like a Chintamani Dham. Wherever our mind goes, wherever we water, whatever we water the things, it grows. If we water the desires, then it will grow. And if we water the devotional service, it will grow. So holy name by itself is it doesn't discriminate. So therefore, we should be very careful of where our mind is when we are chanting. And if it roams, we should try to bring it back again and again as far as our capacity goes. Trying to practice yoga while engaging the mind in material enjoyment is like trying to ignite a fire while pouring water on it. So one side we try to practice our devotional service, another side, if we are trying to enjoy things in this world. So this example is given like you ignite a fire but pour water, so it will never ignite only. Yoga practice without mental control is a waste of time. Such a show of yoga may be materially lucrative, but it is useless as far as spiritualization is concerned. And therefore, we see so many people do Hari Yoga and so many exercises to make the body fit, but hardly they do sense control and everything. So it is materially lucrative, but spiritualization is not there. Therefore, one must control the mind by engaging it constantly in the transcendent loving service of the Lord, loving service of the Lord. Unless one is engaging Krishna consciousness, he cannot steadily control the mind. So, one must do is, whatever time one has, one should try to engage in Krishna consciousness in one of the activities. See, what we should do, we should plan things in a way that if one activity in Krishna consciousness is over, or we cannot do more because our body and mind also has limit where we cannot do more, then we should transfer it to another Krishna conscious activity. In this way, whole day we should do one after the all the Krishna conscious activity. Like morning, we can go for Mangal Aarti, then we can go for chanting, then again Darshanarti, Guru Puja, and then hear Bhagavatam, and then do different services like Aarti, cleaning the altar, making bhoga for the Lord, or taking care of the guests of Lord or devotees of the Lord. Like this, if we are constantly engaged in the whole day, the mind will not have the chance to drive us away from Krishna consciousness and bring into material consciousness. So therefore, we should be engaged thoroughly. Unless one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he cannot steadily control the mind. A Krishna conscious person can easily achieve the result of yoga practice without separate endeavor. But a yoga practitioner cannot achieve success without becoming Krishna consciousness. So whoever is Krishna conscious can uh, achieve the result of all the yoga practice without much endeavor. But a yoga practitioner cannot do. So all the other paths, maybe jnana, karma, ashtanga, buddhi, or whatever path it is, there is some element of bhakti involved in that path. If there is no element of bhakti, then the path will not be successful. So without there being Krishna consciousness, no path can give results. And therefore, we see in different yagyas also, or whenever Ganpati is worshipped, at the last they sing Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Or in yagya they chant different words of Narayana and all. So whatever is being done, there will be the name, the holy name, whatever it may be, maybe Narasimha Bhagwan or Varahadev or Narayan, or Krishna, Rama, whatever it may be. But there will be some names. Without that, nothing can give results. And the karma can't or the other process also give results because some element of bhakti is involved. Otherwise, it on its own, it cannot give any results. And therefore, it is said that when one practices Krishna consciousness, it does not require separate endeavor, but for other things, they require separate endeavor. So then, uh, from verse number 37 to 45, very important thing Arjuna asks. So you have told me to control the mind. I am trying. I am trying to control the mind. I am trying to be perfect in my Krishna consciousness. But what happens if I am not successful? Because sometimes the death may come. We have started very late in our Krishna consciousness. And because of starting late, so much time is gone. Now, if we do also very sincerely, still the death may come. So what happens to an unsuccessful yogi? So what is this destination? He has started the practice of bhakti. He has started his endeavors, but in the middle, either because of not having the body, or either because he's diverted by some other things, because in our life also so many things prompt up. So maybe something came up and he was diverted and he would not take the again back to the path of bhakti or ashtanga yoga, whatever it is. So what happens to that person? So this is a question asked by Arjuna, and very wonderful answer is given by Krishna. Let us see. Arjuna Vacha Ayati Shaddhayapeta Yoga Chalati Manasa Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? So he starts with enthusiasm, like we all start with enthusiasm, all of bhakti path, whatever we are practicing. But after some time, it becomes slackened. And therefore, actual bhakti starts after 10 years in devotional service. Before that, it is because of passion, it is because of we don't know so many things we do. But after 10 years, we know all the dham, we know all the mantra, we know everything in here and there, and we know the process also. And then we become slack. So that time also, if one does not become slack and one continues to go on practicing devotional service, then he can uh, reach the destination. So here, what happens to those who in the middle, because of so many worldly temptations, they leave the process, or because he does not complete in this lifetime, his time has come up. So what happens to that person? Purport. The path of self-realization of mysticism is this kind of Bhagavad Gita. The basic principle of self-realization is knowledge that the living entity is not this material body, but that is he is different from it, and that is the happiness in the eternal life, bliss and knowledge. So the basic thing which Bhagavad Gita says in second chapter only, it starts with this that we are not this body, but spirit, soul. And therefore we should have destination which is full of bliss, eternal life, and knowledge. So this is the body we should have in the spiritual world. These are transcendental beyond beyond both body and mind. Self-realization is sought by the path of knowledge, by the practice of Eightfold Mystery System, or by Bhakti Yoga. So that is Jnana Yoga, then uh, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, and it's Ashta Siddhi. This is which people aspire for. Anima, Lagima, Prapti, and all. See, to become smaller than the smallest, to become bigger than the biggest, to get whatever one desires. Like we see some yogis, they from one hand they will give some apple from Shimla or some outside India or some watch or something. They can get it and they will give you as a gift. So this is like getting what one likes, and this is all Ashtasiddhis which one strives to achieve. So in each of these processes, one has to realize the constitutional position of the living entity, his relationship with God, and his activities, and the activities whereby he can establish his lost link and achieve the highest perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. That is Sambandha, Abhiday, and Prayojan. These things one need to know in each of the processes. So who is the living entity? What is the relationship with the Lord? What is the process and what is the final destination? This one should know whatever path one is following. Following any of the above mentioned three methods, one is sure to reach the supreme goal sooner or later. So if one practices bhakti, he can reach sooner. But if he practices other things like jnana or ashtanga things, it will take lifetimes after lifetime, maybe thousands or maybe lakhs of lifetimes to reach the destination. As far as bhakti is concerned, one can reach in this lifetime or maybe 2, 3 lifetimes, the max, if one practices very nicely. This was asserted by Lord in second chapter. Even a little endeavor on this transcendental path offers a great hope for deliverance. So we saw this in chapter 2, that even if somebody does a little endeavor, that is neha vikramanasasti pratyavayana vidyate swalpam apyapi dharmasya trayate bhautomayat. So even some endeavor one does, then there is a great hope for deliverance. Out of the three methods, the path of bhakti is especially suitable for this age because it is most direct method of God relation. So bhakti is simple also. It helps to reach the destination faster also, and it is most suitable for people who are most degraded or who do the most problems. So for them, other yoga like karma yoga and ashtanga will definitely not work also, because lot of sins one has done, and to eradicate of all these sins or to do prashit, it takes so many years and years and years. And therefore, the best thing is bhakti yoga can help that person, because it can eradicate all the sins. If only one pure name is chanted, all the sins are eradicated. So, therefore, it is most suitable. To be doubly assured, Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna to confirm his former statement. One may sincerely accept the path of self-realization, but the process of cultivation of knowledge and practice of high eightfold yoga system are generally very difficult for this age. Therefore, despite constant endeavor, one may fail for many reasons. First of all, one may not be sufficiently serious about following the process. So many people start that I want to read Bhagavad Gita, I want to understand Bhagavad Gita, and so many things that I want to practice, but they are not serious, and therefore after some classes they are out. So therefore, uh, one may endeavor, but one may not be successful, because one needs to be serious. One is sincere, but at the same time one also needs to be sincere. To pursue transcendental path is more or less declare a war on illusion energy. Therefore, it is not so easy to pursue in transcendental path. Therefore, one has to be very, very careful if one needs to follow transcendental for lifetime. Otherwise, at any time, Maya can attack us back, and we can be out of our practice of devotional service. Consequently, whenever a person tries to escape the clutches of illusory energy, she tries to defeat the practitioner by various allurements. So whenever we try to get out of material things, Maya will come and say, oh, just try to enjoy this. Oh, this you are looking for so many years. Now take this. This car is yours. This home is yours. Like this, till the end of life, even when one is on the deathbed. On 1 year, Krishna will say, come back to God. In another year, Maya will say, it was not actually that bad also. So I'll give you another chance to enjoy. Please, hear me. So like this, there's constant war, and Maya Devi is actually very, very strong. Actually, we don't have much chance to win, but it is Lord who is protecting us, and because of chanting, hearing, and all, we are being protected. Consequently, when a person tries to escape the clutches of illusion, she tries to defeat the practitioner by various elements. A conditioned soul is already allured by the modes of material energy, and there is every chance of being allured again, even by performing transcendental disciplines. This is called Yoga Chalita Manasa, deviation from the transcendental path. Arjuna is inquisitive to know the results of deviation from the path of self-realization. So one practices for some time. After that, one is lost, and one does not complete the whole process of devotion service. So what happens to such person? This is what the question is. And we have also seen in life also that so many people, they promise that I will become devotee of Krishna, but within few days they leave it, and again they are back into the material life. So what happens to this person? So verse number 38. Kachinno bhaya vipratas chinnabram iva nashyati apratisto mahabaho vimudo brahmanapati. O mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? So the person has given his material life and come to practice Krishna consciousness. And here also he doesn't find success. So here Arjuna is the wonderful energy of a cloud. So like a real cloud. So a cloud doesn't have any space, so the wind can carry it anywhere. So here also, Arjuna is asking, so it will not like this now. That material thing is also lost and is not achieve success materially also. At the same time, spirituality is also lost. So not achieve success in spirituality also. So what does it not like happen like this that one may never achieve success in life? And what is the position of that person? Where will that go? Purport. There are two ways to progress. Those who are materialists have no interest in transcendence. Therefore, they are more interested in material advancement by economic development or in promotion to higher planets by appropriate work. So, this way one progresses by doing so many activities so that one may go to Swarga and enjoy there and do some things there. So, when one takes this path of transcendence, one has to cease all material activities and sacrifice all forms of so-called material happiness. So very important that when one takes to spiritual life, then one need to give up material activities or so-called forms of material happiness. So in this material world, whatever happiness we see is actually not happiness, but it's a different type of distress only. Like we see somebody is smoking, so he thinks he's enjoying. He thinks that is the best part, and he shows to his friends also and all it how he's smoking. So he'll do in the public place and everything. But what he actually is doing, he's harming his own body. So therefore, uh, in material life, there is no actual happiness. One feels he's happy, but nothing. There is no actual happiness. It's just relief from some distress. So this person who is smoking is actually destroying his own body. Similarly, we see that we try to solve any problem, but the solution itself is difficult and it creates a big problem itself. Uh, so this is how the things are. Like in one of the countries, the young children were doing thievery so that they can then with that money use for some drug addiction. So the government thought if they want to do some addiction like drugs and they want to take drugs, what's the harm? We will give them money. Why they want to steal? So we do not want them to become bad members or bad citizens. So we will provide them money and let them do what they like so that they don't go into bad habit of stealing. So then the government gave them money. Now the act itself, taking drugs, is bad. So if government helps them to take more drugs, then what will happen? Actually, they feel that we are very happy and all, but actually they are destroying themselves. So there is no material happiness. If the aspirant transaction fails, then he apparently loses both ways. In other words, he can enjoy neither material happiness nor spiritual success. And this is what people think that he will not enjoy material happiness also and spiritual success. Actually, when one starts practicing spiritual things, he enjoys both happiness, spiritual happiness also and material happiness. Like his money is saved in so many material things. Like he doesn't go to cinemas, pubs, theaters, doesn't go to outside to it. So so much money is saved, and therefore materially he is more happy, and also spiritually also. So that is true. Then in this kind, he has no position. He's like a river and cloud. A cloud is in the sky sometimes deviate from the small cloud and joins the big one. But if it cannot join a big one, then it is blown away by the wind and becomes a non-entity in the vast sky. So sometimes one cloud, it try to join a big cloud, but if it cannot, then the wind will blow it away. The Brahmanapati is the path of transcendence through knowing oneself to be spiritual in essence, part and parcel of Supreme God. This is Sambandha Gyan, that who am I? I am a servant of Krishna. I am part and parcel of Krishna. who is unmanifested as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So this we have already saw that how the three levels of relation, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. We saw the example of train. So Brahman is like in the night when the train comes, you only see light. So we think that this is Krishna or Brahman. So they think that in spiritual world there is only light. So that light is the Anga Kanti or the light emanating from body of Krishna. So that Brahman and Paramatma is living in everybody's heart. So Lord Sri Krishna is the fullest manifestation of Supreme Absolute Truth, and therefore one who is surrendered to the Supreme Person is a successful transcendentalist. So one who surrenders to Krishna is successful. So in this world, surrender is considered bad, and when we surrender, people try to exploit us. But in spiritual world, surrender is considered good, and whoever surrenders get all the opulences and things to enjoy. To reach this goal of life through Brahman and Paramatma relation takes many, many births. So this is what I was saying, that Bahunam Janmanamante Gyanvan Mam Prabhante Vasudeva Samiti Sa Mahatma Sudulabha. So we should be thoroughly convinced and we should know for sure that all the paths will take many, many births. Many, many means maybe lakhs or lakhs of births, and still one may not achieve. So one must be very convinced of this fact. And why does it take long time in this path? Because they consider that we will become God, and there is self-realization, and we want to be like God. So this is aparadha, that one considers himself on the level of God, and because of this offense, what happens is it takes a long, long time to reach the destination, and therefore all other paths actually will take more time. But spiritual path is the fastest and second is surest way of going back to God. Therefore, the super most path of transcendental is Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness, the direct method. So direct method is easy, it less time consuming. I have seen in the schools also. Uh, we did an experiment where in one of the schools we did value education, and another school we gave them direct Krishna consciousness. So the place where we gave Krishna consciousness, the results were very quick, and they eventually reported that they also did good in their studies also and behavior also, and they scored good marks also. So overall development very good. And the place where we did only moral education things, there was also some progress, but the progress was very, very less, not so much as it was here. So therefore, actually, Krishna consciousness can bring the highest good material also, and therefore, there is no harm in practicing Krishna consciousness. Then 39 also, he's just continuing this question only. एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण चेतुमर्हसि अशेषतः त्वदन्य संशयास्यस्य चेतह्य नहि उपपद्यते. This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. So he's saying, this is my doubt, and you dispel it. And here, one important thing is, Arjuna is stressing Krishna only you can do. Only you can do, and you can only remove that. Nobody else can. So such kind of confidence, if the hearer as in speaker, then the hearer can get so much benefit and so much can come out to the speaker. So if you see in Bhagavatam also, if you see in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, so this combination of a good hearer and good speaker works like wonders. Good hearers, a person can bring out most from the speakers. Otherwise, if the listener is not of that caliber, then the speaker will also not give the highest. So here, if we see, Arjuna is telling Krishna, is encouraging Krishna, is telling Krishna that you can only dispel my doubt. And if you see the way Arjuna asks questions is never challenging. He wants to just clarify in a very humble mood and attitude and tone. He asks the question, and therefore, uh, this is the method in which questions are to be asked, where one is very much having confidence and also expresses gratitude. Purport. Krishna is the perfect knower of past, present, and future. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said that all divinities existed individually in the past, present, and future, and they exist now in the present, and they continue to retain individual identity in the future, even after liberation from the material entanglement. So, he has already cleared up this question of the future of the individual living entity. Now, Arjuna wants to know of the future of an unsuccessful transcendentalist. So no one is equal to or above Krishna, and certainly the so-called great sages and philosophers who are at the mercy of material nature cannot equal him. Therefore, the verdict of Krishna is the final complete answer to all doubts, because he knows past, present, and future perfectly. But no one knows him. Krishna and Krishna conscious devotees alone can know what is what. So we have seen this. Krishna says in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita that he knows past, present, and future. And Bhagavad Gita also he says about this, and he's also clear that no living entity is killed, so they also will come again in future. So now Arjuna's question is, okay, he will come again, the living entity will come again, but in the next life, will he practice bhakti or not? Because Arjuna is asking from material conception. Suppose somebody is a very good doctor, and he did millions of surgeries, and he's wonderful, is famous, and is liked by all. So this doctor is liked by all. Still, when he dies, all his degree, all his career is gone. In the new birth, what happens? He has to start again. He has to go to the school, he has to go to college, take a degree, and do so many things. He wants to become doctor. So whatever material things one gains is lost at the time of death. And therefore, Arjuna is asking a very appropriate question, that what will happen of such transcendentalists also? He has not done fully, and he's unsuccessful. And at the end of life, because he's unsuccessful, all his endeavors will not be lost now. And the next life, he will not start from the new one, like what happens in the material life, that everyone starts new. So this will not happen to that translation also now. So here, Arjuna is showing his concern about that, what happens to them. And ask Krishna to give the answer. So Krishna will give perfect answer because he knows past, present, and future also. So let's see what Krishna has to answer in verse number 40. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krita Kaschit Durgatim Tata Gacchati. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. So Krishna says that, don't worry, a transcendentalist or a devotee is engaging in auspicious activities. It does not meet with destruction. So in this world also, spiritual world also, whatever practices he has done will be taken further. It will not be destroyed. Purport. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Narada instructs to Vyasa as follows. This is first canto, chapter 5, verse 17. Satya sadharmam charanambujam hare bhajan apakko athapate tato yadi yatra vabhadram abud amusya kim ko vata apto bhajatam sadharmatam. If someone gives up all material prospects and takes complete shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead, so somebody is doing a job or doing something, and then he has very good career. In the future, he'll become the company CEO. He has very, very good career prospects. But he gives that up and takes shelter of Supreme Personality Guided. So there is no loss for it. There is no loss or degradation. On the other hand, a non-devotee may fully engage in operational duties and yet not gain anything. So if there is a non-devotee, then what he'll do? He'll engage in the opportunity doing work in the office. But that will not give you any gain. Whereas a person doing spirituality, there is no loss. And while material things, there is no profit. So this is the difference between both, one should know. Um, for material prospects, there are many activities, both scripture and customary. A transcendent is supposed to give up all material activities for the sake of spiritual advancement in life. Krishna consciousness. Uh, One may argue that by Krishna consciousness, one may attain the highest perfection if it is completed. But if one does not attain such a perfectional stage, then he loses both material and spirituality. So many people argue that if one takes, one should be successful. Uh, Otherwise, if it is not complete, then what will happen? Both things will be lost, and material and spirituality. It's enjoying the scriptures that one has to suffer the reaction for not executing prescribed duties. Therefore, one who fails to discharge transcendental activities properly becomes subjected to these reactions. The Bhagavatam assures the unsuccessful transcendent is that there is no need to be worries. Even though he may be subjected to a reaction for not perfectly executing the prescribed duties, he is still not the loser because auspicious Krishna consciousness is never forgotten, and one so engaged will continue to be so, even if he is lowborn in the next life. So very good combination is given. So there are material duties and there are spiritual duties. And one has practiced spiritual duties, but one has not done his material duty. And because of that, what happens is his next life. So once next life is decided by the consciousness by which one live in this life. And the end, uh, what we were thinking and what we are doing. So whatever activities we do in this life, it actually makes our next life. So suppose somebody likes to eat meat. So what happens is he's producing a next life of animals because Krishna thinks that in this life, because of this body and structure, he may not be able to enjoy it. So let me give him the body in which he can enjoy what he is doing. So let him give the animal body. So this way, whatever we do now shapes our next life. So here he's saying that he'll not a loser. So because of this material duties are not done perfectly, he may have a low birth. So one may go low birth. But at the same time, because he has done spiritual duties well, he will not be affected much by any low birth or anything. And his Krishna consciousness will go on. Like we see in the case of uh, so many, Narad Muni was a Gandharva in the last life and he did some mistake and he was born as a servant of maid. And after being the servant of maid also, he did some devotional service. He's rendered some services to the transcendents. And in that life also he gained perfection. And therefore, we see even the case of Bharat Maharaj. So Bharat Maharaj was very on a high spiritual platform. But at the end of life, he did some mistakes. So he was born as a deer in the next life. But in the life of a deer also, he remembered everything. And he went to Pulasamuni Ashram and heard the spiritual things and everything and he eat only dry leaves and did so many tapasya. So in that, in life of a Hiran also, deer also, it is said that he progressed very fast in devotional service. And again, next birth he took as Jada Bharat. or Bharat only, but who is Jada, that is, people thought he doesn't have any sense, he doesn't have any mind, he doesn't have any intelligence, and like this. But he had everything, but he would not reveal. So there also he did so much of devotional service and was completely dependent on the Lord. So uh, one who simply processes strictly will not be lost. So even if one, because of not doing occupational duties, one is low born, still because of spiritual consciousness, one will not suffer anything. So this is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. On the other hand, one who simply follows strictly the prescribed duties and need not necessarily attain auspicious results if he is lacking in Krishna consciousness. So if one does his duty very, very nicely, or material duties, so still he may not attain results, auspicious results also. It's not possible because there are so many factors involved, and he may be more uh, loser than a person in Krishna consciousness. The purport may be understood as follows. Humanity may be divided into two sections, namely the regulated and the non-regulated. Those who are engaged simply in the bestial sense creation without knowledge of the next life or spiritual salvation belongs to the non-regulated section. So Prabhupada is explaining here in different way now. He's saying that two sections are there. One who regulates his activities of eating, sleeping, meditating, refining, another who does not. So those who are engaged simply in bestial sense gratification without knowledge of the next life or spiritual salvation belong to the non-regulated section. And those who follow the principles of prescribed duties in the scriptures are classified among the regulated section. The non-regulated section, both civilized and non-civilized, educated and non-educated, strong and weak, are full of animal propensities. Their activities are never auspicious because while enjoying the animal process of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, they perpetually remain in material injections, material existence, which is always miserable. On the other hand, those who are regulated by scriptural injunctions and who are rise gradually to Krishna consciousness can certainly progress in life. So, if somebody is non-regulated, then their activities are not as auspicious. One needs to be regulated life. This is what Gita says, and therefore he is doing what is animal propensities. So eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. So this is even done by animals also. So therefore, what is the difference between humans and animals? If there is no difference, then Krishna will either tell us, okay, then if you want to live like animal, next life I will give you animal, then stay there like that only. Uh, and therefore, uh, he's he'll be unsuccessful in the wrong run. Those who are following the path of auspiciousness can be divided into three sections, namely the followers of scriptural rules and regulations who are enjoying material prosperity, those who are trying to find ultimate liberation from the material existence, and those who are devoted to Krishna. So this is like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and then Bhakti Yoga. So first is the karma people who want to enjoy, who want to do things but want to enjoy. They are the karmis, and the second is try to find liberation from material existence. I like moksha kami or jnanis who want to get out of the material world. And third is devotees. Those who are following the rules and regulations of scriptures for material happiness may further divide into two classes: those who are fruitive workers and those who desire no fruit for sense gratification. Those who after are for reserved for sense gratification may be elevated to higher standard of life, even to the higher planets, but still, because they are not free from material existence, they are not following the truly auspicious path. So the one who is after sense gratification and wants spiritual results, so he may, in the material life, he may be at any point, he may go very, very high. But still, what happens is he will not be free from material existence. So he will not be able to get out of the clutches of material world because they are not following the auspicious path. The only auspicious path are those which led one to liberation. Any activity which is not aimed at ultimate self-realization or liberation from the material bodily concept of life is not at all auspicious. See, this human form of life is very, very rare. After so many lives and lives, like crore lives of we have gone to so many species, and that after that we get human form life. And going back to Godhead, self-realization is only possible in human form of life. See, we saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going Jharkhand forest and making even animals devotees, but that is not possible for us. Uh, he was Lord himself and could do. But for us, it is not possible. And only possibility is that human form of life, in the human form of life, one may practice and go back to Godhead. And therefore, this human form of life should not be wasted any cost, and it should be used for self-realization. So if one does not achieve that or does not do the best in that, then actually one is uh, losing a very important thing in life, and therefore is not doing any auspicious work also. Activity in Krishna consciousness is the only auspicious activity, and anyone who voluntarily accepts all bodily discomfort for the sake of making progress in the path of Krishna consciousness can be called a perfect transcendentalist even under severe austerity. So one should try to voluntarily accept bodily discomforts so that one can make progress in Krishna consciousness. Like waking up early in the morning is discomfort. Sitting and chanting rounds is not so comfortable. It's very difficult. So one should try to uh, accept this bodily discomfort and make progress in Krishna consciousness. And because the Eightfold Yoga system is directed towards the ultimate realization of Krishna consciousness, such practice is also auspicious, and no one who is trying his best in this matter need further degradation, need fear degradation. So here it is said that it's auspicious, and one who is trying his best now should not fear that I will degrade or anything. One will definitely come up, and whatever bhakti one does is never lost. So then 41 verse says, what happens of an unsuccessful yogi? What happens to his destination? Where does he go? So this is explained in verse number 41. Prapya punya kritam lokan usitva sashvati saha suchinam srimatam yehe yogo brashto vijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into the family of righteous people or in the family of a rich aristocracy. So this yogi became unsuccessful because some desires were remaining or whatever one wants to enjoy or whatever it may be. So what happens is this yogi is given an opportunity to enjoy. So whatever vasanas he has, whatever desire, he may enjoy for many, many years, and many times also on the planets of pious living, that is in the Swarga or anywhere. So he's allowed to enjoy. And then when his enjoyment is complete, when the punya is complete of enjoyment, then what happens? He's born to a family of either righteous people or rich people. So righteous people means he'll get good culture and education, and then in a rich aristocracy means he need not work for daily labor for his maintenance, everything. It will be taken care of. So in both the cases, he has more time to read, study, do bhajan, and last time he may be unsuccessful. This time he may go back to college because of being successful. So he will try his best in this life also. So like this, the elements are made so that one has more time for practicing Bhakti Yoga. So, or Ashtanga Yoga, what the case may be. So, we also see person who say, I have no time, I have no time, I have no time for spirituality. Gradually, their material activities increase and boss also takes more time, everything. But one who strives for Bhakti Yoga, who removes time and everything, and cultivates bhakti yoga, gradually what happens is Krishna tries to give him more time so that he can do bhakti yoga very nicely. So, and therefore, Krishna helps those who want them to help themselves. So in this way, nobody is lost. So either he's born to a righteous family where he will given the values right away, or in the family of rich. The unsuccessful yogis are divided into two classes. One is fallen after very little progress, and one who is fallen after very long practice of yoga. So this also classification done that one starts bhakti yoga, then one fails, or one fails after a long time. The yogi who fails after a short period of practice does go to the higher planets where pious devotees are allowed to enter. After prolonged life there, one is sent back again to this planet to take birth in the family of righteous Brahmana, Vaishnava, or of a aristocratic merchants. So after some little progress, one if one is deviated, then what happens? Uh, he goes to higher planets and does some enjoyment and come back after that prolonged life there is gone. The real purpose of yoga practice is to achieve the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, as explained in the last verse of this chapter. But those who do not persevere to such extent and who fail because of material elements are allowed by the grace of the Lord to make full utilization of material capacities. And after that, they are given opportunities to live prosperous life in righteous aristocratic families. Those who are born in such families may take advantage of facilities and try to elevate themselves in full Krishna consciousness. So the real purpose of yoga is to achieve the highest goal in Krishna consciousness. So we saw this and we'll see further also. And sometimes what happens is one tries and progresses somewhat, and then one is allured by material things. So what happens is they make full utilization of material propensities. So they live in the righteous education family and they take advantage of these facilities. So one should take advantages and further develop. That what it even means that people who are born in high and good families have more chances that they will grow in Krishna consciousness fast. So verse 42 again, what happens to person like in the last verse we saw about the person who has practiced for short time. Now what happens to person who's practiced for a long time and then fails is explained in verse number 40. अथ वै योगिनमेव कुलभवति धीमताम् एतत्ति दुर्लभतरं लोकजन्म यद् ईदृशम्. Or if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in the family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world. So, if one is successful after short practice, he may go to Swarga or anybody and take birth either in the family of a rich person or a Brahmana. But if one is unsuccessful after long practice, so after long practice, then what happens? One is born in the family of transcendentalists or in the family of devotees, where from birth only he will get everything, all the special things, and such a birth is very rare in this world. Purport: both in the family of yogis or transcendentalists, those with great wisdom is praised here because the child born in such a family receives a spiritual impetus from the very beginning of his life. So such persons are very lucky that from very beginning of the life they get such spiritual inspiration or impetus. It is especially the case of in the Acharya or Goswami families. Such families are very learned and devoted to tradition and training, and thus they become spiritual masters. In India, there are many such Acharya families, but now they have been degenerated due to insufficient education and training. So Previously this title Goswami was given to person who is actually Goswami. Then it became the trademark for certain families that these are called Goswami, or the surname became Goswamis. But the generation of people coming in that family are not so learned or devoted, and sometimes they're not being trained also, and thus they lose an opportunity again. So such families very learned, devoted by traditional, and thus they become spiritual masters. In India, there are many such acharya families, but now have degenerated. By the grace of the Lord, there are still families that foster transcendentalist generation after generation. So we see in some of the parampara where the son of the main pujari or the spiritual master becomes the next person who will take over the whole institution. So like this, generation after generation, the family continues to take care of the deities and the temple, everything. So it is certainly very fortunate to take birth in such families. Fortunately, both our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati Thakur, my in our humble self, had the opportunity to take birth in such families. By the grace of the Lord, and both of us were trained in devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning for lives. Later on, we met our order of transcendental system. So here, Prabhupada is giving example of himself and his spiritual master, how they were born in such good families where devotion was there from the very beginning. And we seen Prabhupada Lilamit also how they used to wake up by hearing the bells of Aarti and Diti. And this way, very good impression was formed from the very childhood. And then uh, 43 verse says that he will resume his yoga practice. तत्रतं बुद्धिसंयोगं लभते पौर्वदेहिकं यत् ते च ततो भूया संसिद्धौ कुरु नन्दन. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. So, again, when he takes birth again, whatever material things are there are vanished, but spiritual things remain, because spirituality is there with the Atma, and because Atma is Amar, so spirituality also stays. And in the next life, what happens is he tries to revive his divine consciousness, what he has left in the previous life, and progresses further. King Bharata, who took his third birth in the family of a good Brahmana, is an example of good birth for the revival of previous transcendental consciousness. So we just saw the example how Bharat Maharaj was born as deer and then Jada Bharat in his third life. So King Bharata was the emperor of the world, and since his time, this planet was known as or demigod as Bharata Varsha. So from Bharat Maharaj, this word Bharat has come, and which is known as Bharat Varsha. Formerly, it is known as Ilavata Varsha. The emperor at an early age retired for spiritual perfection, but failed to achieve success. In his next life, he took birth in the family of a good Brahmana and was known as Jada Bharata because he always remained secluded and did not talk to anyone. So he was very, very careful at the time when he became Jada Bharat. So he would look like a dumb, retarded person so that nobody would bother his spiritual practice. So outwardly, he would look like that, but internally, he would practice bhakti very, very nicely. And later on, he was discovered by the greatest translators by the king Raghuna. So when appropriate time came, for others, he would not speak, but when Raghuna came, he spoke the whole philosophy. And then Raghuna realized that he is a very high elevated soul. From his life, it is understood that transcendental endeavors or the or the practice of yoga never go in vain. By the grace of Lord, the transcendentalists get repeated opportunities for complete perfection in Krishna consciousness. So whatever one practices never goes on vain. So we should try our best that whoever comes in our contact may chant some mantra and gradually grow in devotional service so that their life is sustained and the life goes in the spiritual direction. And this is never lost, never ever lost. Again, that person will get an opportunity to grow further in devotion service and then go back to Godhead. So, therefore, we should strive our best and leave the rest in hands of Krishna. So, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.